This is an Ashford knitter's loom, a rigid heddle loom, and I wanted to do a quick video how to convert it to use these Texsolv cords instead of the little plastic cords that they have to secure the apron rod. I have a video showing how to do this on the Ashford table loom and also on the PVC loom that you can build yourself. And I'm using the very same technique, but I thought I'd show it specific to the Ashford knitter's loom. And what I've got here is an 1/8 inch dowel. If you can see that right here, that's holding these Texsolv cords in, and I've got it cut to the width of the loom between these two edges here. And I've actually got some tape. You don't have to put the tape, but I added it just because I thought it would be a little bit better. And then I've got the original apron stick, or whatever you want to call it, apron rod that came with the loom. So I'm going to go to the front of the loom and go through the same steps. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm fixing to get interrupted, but the distance between these two supports in the front of the loom is different than the supports in the back of the loom because of the way the loom folds up. So this one I think is a little bit shorter. So I'm just going to mark it. You don't really have to measure anything, and then I'm going to snip off the end of this dowel. I'm going to shorten it so that it'll fit between here. So the next thing we need to do is remove these plastic things, but I'm only going to remove one at a time until I know the length, the perfect length that I want my Texsolv to be. And I have a lot of scrap Texsolv here that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to release this and turn this around to the back so that I can squeeze this little arrowhead in to get it back out. And you may have to have tweezers to kind of help you out. So what I'm doing, I hope my fingers aren't in the way, but it's got this little arrowhead thing that you have to squeeze those little wings in. It was easy getting it in, but getting it out is not, it's not supposed to come out because the wings are supposed to keep it in. And I may need to squeeze it with some of these hemostats. It's not really that hard. I'm just a little fumbly right now because I'm trying to do this on camera. And now I got my hemostats caught in there, and I've got it out. And then you just slip it out this second hole. Alright, so it's a little backwards from the way I did it on the table loom, in that you have to connect it to this rod first, and I did it a little different on the table loom. I connected it to this first with my little dowel. So you pass, and just keep in mind that if you plan on pushing these through from this side, be consistent all the way across the loom. So if I'm going to go in this way, I'm going to do it the same all the way across. Or if I go in this way, I'm going to do it the same all the way across. But I'm going to do it on this back side here just because I can. And then once you get it in there, sorry, I'm really clumsy right now, you're going to open up a hole on the end, and make sure it's not a hole that's already starting to fray. See, like that one's starting to fray. So I'm going to cut that off later, but I'm going to go to the next hole. And later I put fray check on it at the end to just give it a little bit more strength. So I'm just passing the other end through that hole, and that's going to secure it to this rod. And if you pass all your cords in the same direction, they should look like this. And then the next one is going to go, I really don't know where how long to cut it, so I'm going to go into the same hole, the same direction, And if I have to trim that, if it's too fuzzy, most of the time you can get it through by just pushing. So what I'll do is I'll pull these out to the length that they want to be, and then I'll count, get my little Sharpie here, and then I'll make a mark on this Texsolv. Let me lock this down. It's a little awkward for me to do it on camera. So I feel like this is the one that I want to stop at. This hole right here is where I want to pass my dowel through. So I'm going to count how many holes that is so I can do all of them the same. So there's my mark. So I'm going to tighten this down. See if I can get more on the camera here. And then I'm going to count these holes in the Texsolv. It's little slots. And it's 11. That's exactly what I used on the other side. So now I need to cut the next one past that one, because that's all I need. Laid my scissors down somewhere. So I don't want to cut in this hole, but I'll cut halfway across the next hole just to get rid of the excess. And then I'm going to put my dowel in that hole. So each one of the pieces of Texsolv, I am not going to cut the Texsolv until I count, until I've tied it onto here and then got it pulled tight so that I'll know how long they need to be. You actually could just take this one off and count and cut them all ahead of time. But what's going to happen, if you'll go back and watch that table loom video, this dowel is going to tighten up right here, and it's going to hold all of these Texsolv pieces in. So let me do one more. I'm going to pull this dowel almost out. So I've got to get rid of this little plastic doodad. Push it on out. If I can get my hemostats are grabbing a little bit too tight. Got it out. And then try to find one that's long enough. And all my little scraps here. Alright, I'll just use this long one. And then remember, I went in, let's see which direction I went in. I went in from this side, and then I find the strongest hole, and it's not that one, because that one's already looking a little frayed. These are all used Texsolv that I had on my PVC loom project. Right, make sure it looks like the other one. Nope, see, I did that one upside down, so I'm kind of glad that's on video. Maybe I'm glad. There's my interruption. I'm going to try to keep going, but I think somebody's here. So I turned it around, tied it from the other side so that it'd be the same, and then I need to poke that one through. And first I need to count. So I pull it tight and then I start counting. Okay, that's number 11 right there. So I'll cut the next one off. And then pass it through. I should have cut it on the other side so I wouldn't have to pass this through again. And then I can run my dowel through that one. And so they will be secure on there. So you do that all the way down the line, and when you're done, these will all be secure and hanging the same way. And then you can add a little tape on the ends of these, this 1/8 inch dowel, just to kind of secure it if you want to. And it probably is not going to go anywhere because it's not going to go sideways on there. But I got afraid that if it pulled out like that, it might slip out. So a little tape wouldn't hurt. So that's all there is to doing this technique on the Ashford Knitter's loom.